everybody. This is Eden Mabon of LightCycleAstrology.com. Welcome back to the channel, friends. Today we are taking a look at Venus's entrance into the sign of Gemini that happens tomorrow on Tuesday, and how Venus will be engaged in a trine aspect to Pluto in Aquarius after she moves into this new sign, not only by whole sign, but then by degree based as well. So we have some archetypal themes or ways in which we might notice this energy between the god of the underworld and Venus coming together in a trine in these very airy, communicative, and mental signs such as Aquarius and Gemini. Of course, tomorrow is also when the Cazimi of Jupiter happens, where the Sun and Jupiter perfect a conjunction in the sign of Aries, and how Mars is the host of this conjunction that is taking place in his temple of Aries, a fallen Mars, as probably a lot of us have been experiencing. So there are some quite dynamic energies that are kicking us into this new week ahead. We're going to take a look at some of those. And now, of course, before we get into today's content, please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave some comments in the comment section. All these things have been really helping to push the channel forward, and I so do appreciate that. As of the time that I'm recording this, I only need one more subscriber for the channel to hit 1,000 subscribers. So that is a real benchmark for me. As I am just figuring out how to create content, and especially how to do it with such a complex topic as astrology. So I really appreciate all the support and feedback that you guys have been giving me. And thanks so much for watching and subscribing. If you're a new subscriber, that really is such a huge amount of support for me right now. You can always go to my website, lightcycleastrology.com, if you're ever interested in a personalized consultation where we take a look at maybe the astrology for the year ahead for you, for instance, or in particular as it relates to, say, relationships or career or money or anything that you're interested in. That is what we specialize at lightcycleastrology.com. Or it's also a great place to just send me a private message if you don't want to leave something in the comment section. So thanks so much. And now let's go ahead and pull up the real-time clock, and we'll take a look at Mercury's entrance into the sign of Gemini before my very young, beautiful co-host Amelia wakes up back there on the couch. She has been keeping mommy awake all night long. So now it's daddy's turn to take over so she can get some much-deserved rest. But here we see, here is Venus. Now this is basically East Coast time is about 12:47 a.m. on Tuesday. So just 47 minutes after midnight if you're on the East Coast. So you just convert that time from there. Venus enters the sign of Gemini, leaving her own temple of Taurus here. And you can see how Venus is immediately going to engage to a trine to Pluto here. Pluto being at the very beginning degrees of Aquarius, only at 15 minutes in. So it's not long before this aspect between Venus and Pluto perfects. It's only just a few hours down the road here. We just have to watch for Venus to get to about 14, 15 degrees, and then that aspect between them is perfected. So that's really only 5, 6 a.m. East Coast time in the morning here that the perfection between this aspect occurs. Now, I know if you have been watching the channel, you probably are thinking to yourself right now, wait a minute, Eden, you're always talking about 3-degree range of engagement, 3-degree range of engagement, right? 3 degrees before the perfection and 3 degrees after the perfection. What happened to that? Well, this is a pretty interesting one to just go into a little bit of a tangent here. If we bring Venus back into Pluto before she ingresses into Gemini, you'll see that the line in the program is being made back to Pluto, that trine line that they're going to have. So yes, technically Venus had entered a degree-based trine 3 degrees prior to where Pluto is in Aquarius here by aspect. But one caveat is that whenever a planet is close to the beginning or end of a sign and it's about to make some kind of degree-based aspect to another planet that is also near the end or the beginning of a sign, you get a very interesting or unusual case that is case-specific. Because if you think about Aquarius and Taurus as signs, they are going to be sharing a whole sign square aspect to one another by whole sign. And this was something that was very important to ancient or traditional astrologers, is that they did use whole sign aspects. So traditionally, they would not have considered Venus to be in a trine to Pluto. Now, they didn't even know Pluto was there, but let's say, just for the sake of argument, that Pluto was a traditional planet. They would not have considered Venus to be in a trine with Pluto until Venus had entered the sign of Gemini, because Gemini has a whole sign trine aspect or visibility back to the whole sign of Aquarius. So technically, yes, there is a degree-based aspect between Pluto and Venus, while Venus is still at the very end degrees of Taurus here, but she is also in a whole sign square aspect to Pluto before she moves into Aquarius, or excuse me, before she moves into Gemini. So you have a little bit of a mixture there. You have this whole sign square energy that is symbolically red, and then you have technically this degree-based trine energy. So it really is when Venus moves into Gemini that they're going to both aspects by whole sign and by degree based are going to be really engaged at that moment. So that's really when we begin the official aspect between these two planets by trine here. And then because Pluto is so near the beginning degrees of Aquarius, it doesn't take long before we see Venus moving into a perfected aspect with Pluto. And then when does Venus move out of this aspect? Let me just pull up my notes. So essentially, we're looking at 5:56 a.m. on Tuesday is when Venus will perfect her trine to Pluto. And Venus moves out of the range of engagement to Pluto by Thursday, 8:36 p.m. is when Venus moves beyond that 3-degree range of separation to Pluto by degree-based aspect. So the aspect is really in play only for about 3 days. So it's not the world's longest aspect that we usually get because both of these planets are so near the beginning of their respective signs. So that is one thing to watch for. By 6:07 p.m. on Tuesday, the Sun and Jupiter also perfect their conjunction in the sign of Aries. So we really do have kind of a pretty dynamic beginning to the week here. Now that we have the timing of this aspect between Venus and Pluto by trine, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the archetypal themes or meaning behind what it's like when we get a trine between Pluto and Venus, but specifically in these very airy and communicative mental signs of Aquarius and Gemini. That's really one of the most interesting things for me about this. Okay, so theme number 1, attracted to or attractive to darker, more rebellious things. So, always with Aquarius, the way that I look at this, and also the way that I was taught by my teachers to understand Aquarius, is always looking at Aquarius from the standpoint of seeing that this sign stands in opposition to the sun sign of Leo. And the sun represents the center of authority, right? He is the light or the king that everything revolves around, right? The sun at the center of the solar system, that everything finds a central meaning or purpose or identity or authority to rally around. So you get the sense here that Aquarius and Pluto moving into this sign, Pluto is going to begin working towards transforming ways in which we rebel or question the central authority, ways in which we recognize authority. All of those things are what Pluto is just starting to bring to the forefront. He is moving those Plutonian themes out into visibility. And over the next couple of days, Pluto making this trine to Venus makes me wonder if there just isn't an attraction that we feel towards some of those potentially more transformative and rebellious qualities against authority. Like say, for instance, to popular movements that are rebellious or attractive. Is this something that we're just somehow finding ourselves kind of attracted to all of a sudden over the next couple of days? Or is it that we seem to attract those kinds of elements? So that is theme number 1 that I could see, sort of maybe some people seeing out there around them or feeling, within themselves sort of crop up kind of out of the blue. it hasn't been long that Pluto has moved into Aquarius, so we're still getting used to this energy. And I don't know about you guys, but I thought it would be much more subtle. For me, Pluto in Aquarius has really been quite a bold signature that I've really been noticing very quickly since it's moved into that sign. So could this be a time where we are attracted to that powerful, authoritatively questioning or rebelling quality that we get from Pluto now? I'm wondering if we're attracted to that, or if somehow we attract that in our lives for some people. Okay, theme number 2 is being in alignment with what is popular. This is almost like the flip side of theme number 1, where theme number 1 deals with are we suddenly noticing and becoming interested in things that are somehow questioning authority, or questioning the status quo, or questioning what is popular. Theme number 2 is almost like that trine energy to Venus. Venus likes to harmonize things, and trines like to bring people together. So this makes me wonder if some people will react by saying, no, 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 no. That is this is the politically expedient way that we all need to come together under one roof and harmonize and work together. Could we become in alignment with things that are simply popular or fashionable, especially as it pertains to Venus, a goddess of fashion and art? Could we unify under ways in which we want society to share a culture, share a common narrative around what is beautiful and harmonious, what is polite and diplomatic? All of those things could be sort of the reverse of theme number 1, I could say. All right, theme number 3 is the winds of change that stoke the Cazimi fires. This is a really poetic one. But this just gets into the coincidence of the Jupiter-Sun conjunction that perfects just hours after Venus moves into the sign of Gemini. And just taking the fact that both Aquarius and Gemini are air signs, and air really connects us to ideas, communication, I get the sense that this synodic reset between the Sun and Jupiter in this very fiery sign, it's like you have this fire that is igniting in Aries. And for me, this aspect with planets in the air signs, it's almost like that fire gets blown, right? It's like, would you just blow on that ember and it sort of ignites? The Cazimi moments of Jupiter in a fire sign with the Sun, a Sun that is exalted, that's going to be a pretty big spark that is really going to have a deep impact, that is going to cause people to initiate and begin new things for sure for themselves. So watch for that for sure. And this could be the mental winds of change that sort of blow in. Maybe it could even be some kind of Venusian fortune that just sort of blows in and causes the ignition of ideas, passions, ideas, the beginnings of things to all of a sudden be there for you. Theme number 4. Possessed by ideal desire to start something new. This is a little bit related to theme number 3, the winds of change, but this may be a little bit more of that Plutonian possession, where we just are very, very all of a sudden like we're not seeing what we need to get done around us. There is kind of the danger of doing something in vanity or in a vain way with Venus at times. So Pluto and Venus, one theme that you could just see between those two planets is the indulgence of something vain that you're just simply very, very obsessed with. And, I don't think that that's really a bad thing. Especially this is a quick moving transit. So this isn't going to ruin anybody's life probably, but this could be a moment where things that are more responsible left undone or unnoticed. Maybe it's just a little bit difficult for us to be more practical or pragmatic, and we just get possessed or pulled in by a certain ideological beauty or truth that really just is very attractive to us, a strong desire that we can't shake right now. And one thing that we're going to be talking about on Wednesday is the square that Venus and Saturn move into, the square aspect between Saturn and Venus that begins in the middle of the week. So I wonder if this isn't a time where certain certain things are really going to grab a hold and possess us, and we're not going to have mm, the most useful way of also doing what we have to do. And then here comes Saturn and Venus by square, and then now we bring in back into the fold responsibilities that need to be remembered. So this could be just a very quick up and down with Venus being really attracted and possessed by something that we want really badly. And it has kind of like a very fresh ideological bent to it, because it's coming from Aquarius. Okay. So theme number 5 is social grace, beauty, and support connected to death, cremation, and rebirth. For me, I just can't shake that this cazimi between Jupiter and the Sun is happening simultaneous to this aspect with Venus and Pluto. So in more of like a concrete example of this, I wonder if we aren't going to see some very concrete examples out there around us of death and cremation and rebirth, all things that are happening, or all things that are symbolized to happen by what is happening in the chart and above our heads with these gods and goddesses as the planets are moving and engaging to one another in their divine relationships. Death, Pluto is a planet that is connected. Death, cremation. What do you do when something dies? You cremate it. Well, we've got this big conjunction in the sign of Aries. We have all this wind energy that is happening in these two air signs. So it's like something dies, something is cremated by the fires and with the wind. And then, of course, we have rebirth, which Pluto not only is connected to, right, the transformation, death, and rebirth of something, but also the synodic reset of Jupiter and the Sun, having something rebirth as the Sun passes by Jupiter after the middle of the week and begins to leave the cazimi of the Sun, and then is reborn and reset as a new cycle for Jupiter. So this theme is really prominent and in the air right now of death, cremation, and rebirth, not only by the Sun-Jupiter conjunction, those themes are in there, but also with Pluto itself, right? So, but we just pull in the social grace, the beauty, and the support of Venus and the trine aspect to these things. And so we're getting ways in which, like, you could see an inheritance come through if a relative passes by, or something like that. That's really the most obvious example that you could come up with this. But imagine how it's like there's good fortune that comes somehow, but it's connected to darker things like death and cremation and rebirth. So that's definitely something that is in the air thematically right now as these transits are unfolding, I think. Okay, theme number 6 is romance and devices. Yeah. Boy, oh boy, has it been all over the news ever since Pluto has entered Aquarius. Man, everything from ChatGPT, artificial intelligence, discussions on how we're very, very inundated to being subservient to the algorithm, an entire generation that is now essentially making decisions day to day and life decisions based on what the algorithm wants. So, you have Venus in an air sign, you have Pluto in an air sign. I think there just could be this general theme around romance, or things that are attractive. Like, are we attracted to technology or devices or the algorithm? Is the algorithm going to be something that we're falling in love with right now more and more, getting deeper into that plutonium hole? But then, of course, you could see very concrete examples like people meeting each other online, so that could just be a couple of days where some people are out there and they're meeting new people and having romantic connections. But it's, of course, all through dating apps or, Tinder, or just on devices or things like that. So theme number 6 is romance and devices. Okay, theme number 7 is friends with mutual, societal, or philosophical ideologies. Venus is a planet of friendship. And as she enters a sign like Gemini that is all about communication, could we simply be meeting people that are going to be instrumental in transforming our philosophical ideas or concepts as they relate to society or the future? Pluto in Aquarius, types of things, again, the transformation of society, writ large, the ideological perspectives that we all have. Could this be a time where we are meeting or engaging with certain people and discovering or finding out common ground? And that common ground would have something to do maybe with just similar philosophical points of view or ideological points of view, but probably, as it relates politically or religiously or spiritually or anything like that, but those bigger Aquarian Pluto kinds of things. Could this be a time where we meet or come together with friends that have similar perspectives? I think so. Okay, and number 8 is going to be spring cleaning. So this is just a light, fun one to end on. But, in the spring, we do spring cleaning traditionally, right? And Venus, one traditional signification for the planet of Venus is this connection to things that are beautiful. And usually things that are beautiful are also clean. And a lot of times, what do people do when they want something to be as beautiful as they can? They clean it as much as they can. So, think about something like an antique, something that you restore and that you re-clean. So one thing we could see is the restoration of things to make them more beautiful, obviously, or like spring cleaning the house, getting all the dust out. This is a theme that maybe could inspire us over the next couple of days to do that spring cleaning, to transform the environment and just make it all beautiful and nice. So that is what I have for today. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching. I really appreciate you guys checking out the content this Monday. On Wednesday, we're going to talk about Venus's square to Saturn that she begins to engage in. So that's sort of when the other shoe potentially drops a little bit for this aspect that is forming. So we got a quick couple of aspects that are coming in, and that's what we're going to get into for the continued content of the week. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good one. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again on Wednesday. Take care, and bye for now.